Reason why pork is forbidden. You may ask, dear, why pork is forbidden even though it was created from God's creatures, and why did He create it then? In the following is an overview of pork, which shows you why God forbids pork. Pork, it is a seventh animal, with a meaty herbaceous meat, and it eats everything. Litter, excreta, and impurity, and it is a predator that eats rats and mice, as well as carrion, even the carcasses of its peers. And here lies its benefits, as it saves the earth from filth, as it is an animal broom, and its harm to the diseases that the pig carries inside its body, as there are 450 diseases, 57 of which are parasites that transmit to humans and kill them, and it is the main source of epidemic diseases, as his body contains 27 an epidemic disease. Pork also contributes to hardening of the arteries, as it contains a very high amount of cholesterol, unlike other animals, and leads to infertility, cirrhosis, and various cancers. Viral diseases in pork. Nipah virus. In Malaysia in 1998, the world got acquainted with this deadly virus. Its symptoms are similar to the symptoms of influenza. Doctors believe that the virus infected a fruit bat, which in turn transmitted it to pigs, and 117 people died. Medical follow-ups proved that all the injured had a close relationship with pigs, and accordingly, the health departments in Malaysia killed 1 million pigs. Japanese encephalitis virus, infected birds and transmitted by mosquitoes to pigs, thus infecting pig farmers in East Asia. This virus causes encephalitis in humans, and in some cases it is dead. The encephalomyocarditis virus. Pigs feed on rats, which are a reservoir for this dangerous virus, so the infection passes from rats to pigs to humans, which causes inflammation in the brain and heart, which leads to the lives of the infected. Bacterial diseases caused by pork. Bacteria, salmonellosis typhoid, paratyphoid, and food poisoning, are among the diseases caused by salmonella. Bacteria erysipelas, Bacillus anthracis from whales and tanners. This virulent bacterium is transmitted, in the form of red plaque, burning hands, accompanied by high temperatures, chills and lymphangitis. These diseases are in addition to flatworms, tapeworms, nematodes and roundworms that this abominable animal transmits to humans. After all this, we stand before a miracle of the miracles of legislation, so you are blessed who said, good things are permissible for them, and evil sins are forbidden for them. Science's discovery of these facts about pork proves the correspondence between our religion and modern scientific facts. Scientific facts behind the prohibition of pork. With the development of scientific fields, especially anatomy, doctors found that it is possible to get rid of many incurable diseases by removing the affected part of the human body and replacing it with a healthy part. In order to solve this complex issue, scientists began the arduous search process in order to find spare parts for a person that would be available immediately when requested and at prices that would be affordable to everyone. So the scientists decided to resort to other alternatives such as cloning, but this method did not succeed. It did not reach a practical solution, so they resorted to animals in the hope that they would find a suitable solution. Scientists and doctors dissected several types of mammals and found that the pig is the most appropriate and ideal candidate among all animals due to the similarity of its internal organs such as the heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, pancreas, spleen, and others to the degree of symmetry with the internal organs of a person. This similarity and congruence has led to overwhelming rejoicing in the medical circles, so that the American Journal of Medicine and Science described the pig as a mine of gold and the first savior of mankind. And many scientists became blameworthy for Muslims for their neglect of the pig and their adherence to moving away from dealing with him as forbidden in this sense. Pig global media with an aura of reverence. As many seminars were held around him and thousands of lectures were given about him, and the pig overnight became the first inspiration for anatomists, and his image became the top of many covers of medical and scientific journals, and television stations began to hold discussions and scientific seminars around him, and the pig appeared on international television screens as if he was one of the famous Hollywood stars. From here, most countries of the world began to compete to raise pigs in order to benefit from their internal organs and implant them in the sick human body. The pig's breeding fever reached after the media propaganda that was surrounding it that a country like Indonesia has about 100 million Muslims now has 12 million pigs, and the number increased in Australia to become 20 million pigs. In the United States of America, Thailand, China, and Japan, the number of pigs has increased to about 200 million pigs, and companies that raise pigs in private farms are competing to conclude deals with governmental and non-governmental hospitals in order to supply the internal organs of the pig for implantation in the human body, especially the heart and kidneys. In the West, she is discussing how to transplant a pig heart into the body of a Muslim man instead of his sick heart. Great shock and disappointment for Muslims. With the increase in interest in the pig, the process of research and studies on it has also increased, and through this research, scientists have found that the pig is a container for many deadly and very dangerous viruses on the human body, and despite these disappointing results, scientists resorted to a modern method in an attempt to get rid of these viruses. And that is through the DNA, genetic engineering, which has witnessed during the past few years an amazing development, as the scientists' plan was to separate the deadly viruses that the pig carries from its cells, and research continued from 2000 until 2004. Where the scientists' plans failed because they found that the viruses that live in the pig's body are completely intertwined with the DNA of pig cells and that separating them is impossible in particular, and despite this shock that the medical and scientific community in the West received, some hospitals risked where he implanted some pig organs are found in the bodies of a number of patients, which resulted in their death after less than 24 hours. The Medicine Journal says in its issue number 55 of 2005 that the patient who had a pig heart transplant in South Africa passed away after only 2 days. Although the operation was very successful in terms of technology and although the patient's body was given medicine so that the body did not reject the pig's heart as a foreign body, this incident prompted the British medical journal Lancet to publish an article about pigs, in which it said, "All parts of the pig, including its skin, contain viruses to the least that are said about them as viruses that kill humans." The pig's kidneys secrete a virus that causes disturbances in the human brain, while his liver and lungs secrete viruses that cause a person to weaken his immune system, while the pig's pancreas secretes a virus that causes diabetes and Parkinson's in addition to damage to the nervous system. The warnings issued by scientists, which all emphasize the danger of pigs to humans, led to the feat of many countries that were racing to raise pigs, killing many of them, as the countries of Thailand, China, Cambodia, Japan, Australia, India, France, and Britain launched a relentless war on pigs after studies have proven scientific that pig is the direct cause of the spread of disease, Japanese encephalitis. The Medicine Journal, the aforementioned issue, had indicated that this disease kills more than 30,000 people annually in Australia alone, and the newspaper said that the pig produces a type of virus called candidate viruses and that these viruses are very dangerous and that if a person is exposed to these viruses in many cases, he dies after 72 hours. She indicated that the spread of these viruses is very easy and that all the studies conducted on them have not reached an effective treatment for them so far, and the newspaper emphasized that the most exposed group of people exposed to the dangers of these viruses are children between the ages of 1 year and 8 years, as it said that the studies conducted on the tissues, mucus, and saliva of infected children, I confirmed that these children become vulnerable to death after being infected for 3 days, as this virus destroys their immune systems, causing them to have a complete health collapse and death. As for the German news agency, DEBA, it published a lengthy report on pork asking the German people not to eat their meat, and the agency confirmed that 45% of obesity cases suffered by the German people are due to eating pork rich in high fats. As these fats cause heart health problems, it usually results in death. Church stand. Although the followers of the Catholic Church were among the most enthusiastic about the idea that the pig is the first savior for man in terms of using his internal organs as spare parts, they retreated from this idea after studies and research published by medical and scientific magazines and newspapers, which clearly showed that the pig poses a threat to human life. In a field study presented by the University of Columbia in the U.S. state of Ohio, scientists in the university's Department of Microbiology said that the pig carries a virus called Hydra, and this virus is transmitted to humans by eating pork. The study said that the virus lives at high temperatures and that the process of cooking pork, no matter how good, does not eliminate the virus completely, and the study added that the virus unites completely with pork cells to the extent that it is difficult to separate it from the DNA of those cells. The study confirmed that the virus causes a breakdown in the cells of the human body, which leads to a weakening of immunity to him, and this in turn leads to the human loss of any disease resistance, the least of which is the tapeworm. From here, many charities that provide humanitarian aid to families and children in distress in European countries and the United States of America, such as the German Stare Association, the German Schellner, the French, and Al-Wahasi, and others began to demand an end to eating pork, just as many churches deliberately not providing pork to its employees, after it was confirmed that the pig was a hotbed of virulent germs and deadly viruses. Responding to Muslim criticism. These studies, which were sourced from Western universities and scientific institutes, came to respond to the voices that were critical of Muslims, as many Western voices accused Muslims of depriving pigs without any scientific proof of their claim, and when studies appeared saying that pigs could constitute spare parts for the human body, voices were loudly the West criticizes Islam and Muslims for their prohibition of pork, accusing Muslims of sectarian backwardness. But after it was proven scientifically and medically that the pig risked human health, those voices were silenced and he could no longer hear them, hissing, so they proved by themselves that what the Koran said more than 1,400 years ago is the truth. Reason why pork is forbidden. You may ask, dear, why pork is forbidden even though it was created from God's creatures, and why did He create it then? In the following is an overview of pork, which shows you why God forbids pork. Pork, it is a seventh animal, with a meaty herbaceous meat, and it eats everything. Litter, excreta, and impurity, and it is a predator that eats rats and mice, as well as carrion, even the carcasses of its peers.